now we've passed the guard, we're looking at dominant positions with us on top. So this is my opponent. I've got past his legs and I'm looking to establish control so that he can't retain his guard or get his guard back, get his legs back in between myself and him to defend or attack. So I need to make sure he can't get his legs back, and I want to be able to hold him down so I can go into my attacks, so I can look to improve my position. So I've got past his legs. My first position we're going to look at is side control, which we've looked at from the bottom position. Now let's look about what we need to do on top. So we remember he's looking to keep his arms tucked in here so he can protect his neck. I obviously don't want that to happen. So I want to remove this arm from the equation here. If he's got it tucked in here, I'm going to run my knee up underneath his shoulder here. Even with his elbows tucked like this, I can run my knee up here and drop underneath his neck here. Right. So what I'm looking to do, you can see, is bring my knee down and across, so it's kind of level with his shoulders here. Even if his arm is still tucked here, I want to get my hip nice and tight and get my arm under his neck, securing here. Right. So what I'm looking to do is trap his arm. Right. If my hips are tight enough, there's no way, and I'm below his elbow, it's going to be impossible for him to bring his arm back down, and there's no strength involved here. Right. I'm also looking to get my arm as deep as possible here, trying to reach through to his far armpit here, so I can drop my shoulder down onto his neck, right, or his chin. What I'm looking to do is turn his neck away, because remember, his main defense is to bridge back in towards me, to turn up onto his side, to turn towards me, so he can bridge and shrimp out and re-guard here, or turn to his knees. The more I have this cross face going on here, right, dropping my shoulder down, turning his chin away, the harder it is for him to turn back into me, which is very, very important here. Now, a lot of the time people are going to connect their arms, connect their hands here, so they can hold him down, pinch over, right? This is very good here, but I prefer to not think so much about dropping my weight onto him, but actually constricting him laterally, stopping him moving his hips. This way is less of a battle of strength. It just makes it hard for him to move because there's no space for him to move into. So what I'm looking to do here, once I've trapped this arm, got this cross face going here, I'm dropping my weight down. I want to make sure my chest doesn't go over his chest, because if my centre of gravity goes across his, it's much, much easier for him to roll and roll me across him, because my weight has gone that way. I want to keep my weight actually off him here. I don't want to commit and give too much weight to him, so my body is actually not across his centre line. I don't want my weight going across. Here is where he's going to roll me over the top. Here, actually, now I can sprawl back. My weight is on this side of his body. Now if he wants to roll me across, he has to take my whole weight and pull it over him. Right. What I'm looking to do as well here is to block his hips and stop his movement, because like I said, he wants to bridge in towards me. We'll sometimes turn away, but he needs his hip movement, he needs his shoulders going here. If he wants to turn laterally, I need to block his hips so he can't move towards me. Right. Now, it's possible for him to start lifting up this way and start shrimping out, but it's harder for him to bridge. What I want to do, in essence, is use my elbow here to pinch inwards. So I'm pinching laterally, making it very, very hard for him to turn his hips here. And this is the same position where I could link my hands, but much more important than that is keeping this pinch here, stopping him from moving his hips as much. Much harder for him to move. Right, now he's probably going to start trying to get his arms involved, start trying to attack here, at which point I can start looking for my arm attacks here. I can start looking for arm locks, but more than that, it's very, very hard for him to move. Because I'm cross-facing, I'm controlling his neck and his shoulder line here. I'm also controlling his hips, making it hard for him to turn up. Right. So we're also going to look at his basic attack. Now there's a series on arm attacks, I think, somewhere in my video feed, if you're looking for that here. But we'll also cover a couple of like side control position variations here. A lot of the time, if he's trying to get this arm back in here, what we're going to look at is a basic key lock. So as he's starting to get his arm back in here, right, he's starting to push away, create the space. If he has space, he can move, and I don't want that to happen. If he starts to move, then I'm starting to lose position. I need to readjust, take away his space again. Or now if he's starting to push me away, right, what's happening here? He's taking his arms away from his body. He doesn't have this solid structure, solid frame, where he's using his entire musculature to pinch everything shut. The more he reaches away, the more he tries to push me off, the more he gives me room to attack, the weaker his connection between his arm and his body is. So if he's trying to push me away here, right, here, and there's space already being created, now first thing that I can do is start to move or start to look for an attack, because there's space now. I don't have the solid connection. When I'm down here, I can stay tight. It's hard for me to move. He moves me away. It's harder for me to keep control of this hip, so he's going to start looking to move and shrimp and buck me off. I don't want that to happen. So if he starts to push me off here, right, where he uses his arms and starts to create space, I can attack these arms, which is, you know, great. Takes me into position for a submission, or I can look to move. If he moves and shrug and creates space here, I can always sit through for my scarf position here, right? Very common in judo, but a lot of judo guys commonly hug the head. It's less common in jiu-jitsu because even though this can be a very strong control position, if he manages to escape out the back, here he brings his head out. Now he's able to come to my back and start looking at that back control here, which is a very dangerous position for me. If I have this underhook for my arm hooked underneath his armpit, it's much harder for him to move, right? So this is a very strong position. Even if he's pushing me off here, right, my upper body comes up, so I sit through. Now, if we look at the leg positioning here, right, I'm not sitting on the ground, because if I do this here, like, my weight is on my butt, right? My weight is sitting down here, whereas if I bring my weight up, now I'm driving my weight onto him. Right, there's actually more pressure going through him. So I'm going to exaggerate a little bit, bring my butt up so you can see. Now I'm driving off my leg, driving into him. My head's down low, right? This will help counteract him pushing me over backwards, which can happen, right? I also want to make sure, again, that I don't drive my weight too far over, because that's where I might get bridged and rolled. So I'm controlling here, my head's down, my weight's low, and my butt is off the ground here. I'm controlling. Now, you notice I'm securing his arm, which lets me pull this back up and switch back to that side control, if that's what I wanted, right? Helps me secure the position. All of these control positions are not static positions. You'll need to be moving and adjusting all the time, right? So that's our scarf hold. Again, if he's pushing up and making space here from side control, it's going to be harder for me to keep my weight down. So another approach we can take is to actually come up like with him. So he's pushing my upper body away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant my hands on him or on the mat. Usually I like to go on him because this gives me more direct control. So I push, which keeps him down, and I'll pop up to this knee on belly position because my knee is on his belly. Right. Much more mobile position, very good for attacks. My arms are free. I can make this very uncomfortable for him here by putting a lot of weight down, or what I prefer is to keep my foot hooked on the hip, my shin across his belt line here. Now I'm thinking more about controlling the position, right, by stopping his movement, rather than just driving my knee in and creating pain, which is, you know, it's also good. Pain distracts him, makes it harder for him to think about doing the right thing, defending properly, but at the same time, a tough guy who is used to these positions, he's not going to be as distracted, so you want to think more about control here, stopping his movement rather than just trying to make life really, really uncomfortable for him. That's an added bonus, but I'd rather have a structurally sound position than sacrificing that just to make his life a little bit more uncomfortable. So here again, I can attack for the arms, or if he starts trying to push this knee off here, I can always drop back down, or here I can slide to mount. Notice the knee on belly here, right, my knee that's closest to him is the one that controls. This is a very different position here, right? Still has a lot of advantages, but it makes it easier for him to defend in many ways. Classic knee on belly is going to be my foot level with the shoulder line here. My knee is not turned inwards here. It's opened up, so you need a little bit of hip flexibility, right? And my knee is not down on the ground. It's a different position. It's not going to be the same. I want to make it far enough away they can't grab this leg, push me up, roll me over the top here. So here, chest up, or even low, hands ready to hand fight, attack his collar, go for his arms, right? But here, I'm mobile. I can switch sides, I can spin around his head, and my knee here is stopping him bringing his legs back across, pushing me away. Right, very strong position. Also great in MMA for delivering strikes. Last side control variation I want to mention would be reverse scarf here. So I'm in side control here, and a lot of the time what I'm looking to do if I want to come to mount, right, I see a lot of guys just stepping, throwing their leg over here. Now this is going to be possible with my guy just lying here flat, but the more he's defending, the harder that's going to be, because all he needs to do is lift his leg up here, and as I step over, he can just hook me back into guard, or half guard, or something like that, which is going to make life a lot more difficult, and I have to pass his guard all over again. So what I'm going to do, if I'm looking to mount from here, right, either I can go tight here, slide through, or go to knee on belly and slide through, or I can attack from my reverse scarf position. So from side control here, right, I'm controlling crossways here. Now I'm going to switch here. So I'm still looking to control his hips, my knee. Now this time I'm controlling my elbow tucked under his armpit here. So we still have weight going across his body. My classic side control, my elbow is blocking this side here, my other elbow is kind of at his neck. I'm controlling opposite sides of his body. Here I'm looking to go this way, I'm controlling, right? I can use my butt, I can scooch up, clear his arm here, and I want to make space to be able to step over here. A lot of the time he's going to have his legs up, right? And a lot of the time the classic defense is kind of tuck his knee over here, so there's a barrier to stop me from coming up if I'm too close to his hips, or so he can look to hook my legs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move up here, and I'm going to pull his legs towards me. I'm going to reach for his far knee here, got two legs up, I reach for the far leg, pull it towards me here, and now when I step I keep hold of his leg so he can't open it up. Now if I reach the outside of his knee and pull it inwards, right, it's a lot weaker to pull him this way and fight downwards into me here. So this is actually a relatively weak movement that I can get away with just using my arm here. Now for him to reach his leg up, he's opening his hips up to the side rather than just laying on his back and being able to throw his leg up. And he's got his strong muscles, his quads going here. So I pull that leg towards me and I step over the top. I hook the leg, so now he does open it up here. He just pulls me into this mount position, right? So we don't want to rush the position, we want to do it right. If we do it right, it's very, very hard for him to defend. If we try and go quick here, it's very easy for him to defeat it. So take your time, get into that good position. Right. Last little thing we're going to look at from side control is our basic key lock attack here. He's trying to push me away. Now I've had all of these movements where we're changing our position, Now we're going to look at just taking this arm here. If he's pushing me away here, I'll take my arm, I'll grab his wrist, I'll use my weight to pin it down to the ground here. What I'm looking to do is create this bend in his elbow here. I'm looking to twist and attack the shoulder joint and the elbow joint here. Now, if you take your arm out here and try and move it backwards, you'll see you have a decent amount of flexibility, right? The more you bring this elbow into your body, the less mobility you're going to have. So up here, away from my body, here, I've got okay mobility. Here, tighter I bring it in here, especially when I go backwards, things get very stiff very quickly. So what I'm going to do is once I have the arm here, I want to pull in towards his body, nice and tight. Here, further away from his arm, from his body here, I have to turn a lot. Here I want to pull everything in tight, here. So my elbow hits his shoulder or his neck, and my other elbow is pinching tight against his hip. And from here, I'm lifting his elbow and dragging his hand along the mat. And I also roll both my wrists to pull his elbow further this way. Here, and that's my basic key lock attack here. Right. So, side control, very dominant position, very good for holding someone down. And we've had little variations in the position, so knee on belly, scarf hold, reverse scarf. Very important to be able to move between these positions when you're trying to hold someone because they're not static. And also our basic key lock attack there. Lots of other options as well, but that will get you going for starters.